Peace. These content and these pieces, articles, clippings that I'm using will be used for the purpose of entertainment, educational, and critiquing purposes. That being stated, I reserve my right to go forward and I shall proceed. Today's topic: does Genesis 25 and 25 speak of Esau being the white man? And is Esau the white man? Is there any historical evidence proving that Esau is the white man? Is there any mythological evidence proving that Esau is the white man? And the answer is concluded at the end of this show. I'm not going to tell you. Let us read what the text has to say. I like to read the commentaries, the Jewish commentaries. Rashi go back to the 10th century. That shows you that, I don't care whether it's white, black, blue, or green. That shows you that these are old Jewish thoughts. These are thoughts that are much older than the thoughts that people have unto today. And getting down here to 25. Come on, Slowpoke. There we go. Okay, he talked about Esau, the birth of Esau. Okay, we read there 23, and it says, "And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 kingdoms will be separate from your innards, and 1 kingdom will be mightier than the other kingdom, and the elder will serve the younger. And her days to give birth were completed, and behold, there were twins in her womb. The first one emerged ruddy. He was completely like a coat of fur, and they named him Esau." Now, my problem with that, and we read here in the commentary, it says that this is a sign that he will be a person who sheds blood, okay? He was completely like a coat of fur, full of hair like a woolen cloth, which is full of hair. Close in Old French. And they named him Esau, and they called him this because he was complete Sha'ar, or Esau. Excuse me, I read that wrong. That's Esau, which means he was complete hairy and fully developed with hair, like one many years old. Notice it said he was completely developed with hair like one that was many years old, not completely developed with hair like one that was white or one that was European, okay? Now, my question becomes, why do uneducated Israelites teach that the Bible, why do you teach that Esau is the white man because he is described as red in the scriptures, or white man or red man or any of that? Why do you call Esau white or red because of the way that he was described in the Bible? I'm saying the Bible described him as red, and the Bible did not call Esau red because he looked red. The Bible strictly says here that the first emerged ruddy. The first one came out red, and he was completely like a coat of hair. And they named him Esau. The scripture said they named him Esau. They did not name him red. They did not name him Esau. They did not name him They did not name him Edom. Not yet. They named him Esau. Okay? And they named him Esau not because of the color of his skin. Okay? That must be clear. They named him Esau because he was hairy. He had a lot of hair. So they called him Esau. They did not call him Red. He was birthed here as Esau. That is the name that they first gave him. They did not give him Edom. They did not give him Edom yet till much later, till he was much older. This is when he was a baby. At birth, he was called Esau. He was not called Red at birth because of his red skin. That must be clear. So now his name is Esau, okay? Did nobody equate Esau to red skin, okay? They equated Esau to him being hairy, okay? They did not. So what I'm saying, if the Lord did not call Esau a red because he looked red, why are you doing it? The Lord called him, the Lord described him as red, and he called him hairy. You're acting as though the Lord described him as red and then called him red because of he looked red. And that is a lie. That is not the truth. The Lord described him as red and hairy and then called him hairy. Esau. Okay, not red, not Edom. He wasn't called Edom until the verse 30. After he didn't grew up. You see verse 27, and the youth grew up. So well after they grew up, and Esau was a man who understood hunting, and Jacob of the field, whereas Jacob was an innocent man dwelling in the tents. Okay, so they grew up now. After they had grown up, well, after they became grown men, then the name Edom was bestowed upon him. And it was not because of his color. And Esau said to Jacob, pour unto me some of this red pottage, for I am faint. He was therefore named Edom. Edom means red in Hebrew. He was named red because he liked the red pottage. And Esau said to Jacob, pour unto me some of this red pottage, for I am faint. Vayomar Esau el Jacob, hale Yotoni na man Haradan ha Aram. He's asking the brothers to give him the red. Ha Adam. He asking for the red. Give him the red. And he liked the red because he liked the red. That's what they call the lentil soup. The red lentil Mediterranean soups, beans, the lentils that grew in that land were red. Not all lentils are green. In fact, mostly all the lentils that grew in the ancient times in that part of the world were red. So he liked the red lentils. So that's why they called him red. They did not call him red because of his skin. That is a lie. So I'm asking you, if God did not call Esau a red because of he looked red, why are you doing it? If God did not call Esau the white man, why are you calling him that? If God didn't call Esau the white man or the red man, why are you doing that? The scriptures only referred to him as red for his love for the red pottage. Read off into the commentary. And Esau said to Jacob, pour into me some of this red pottage, for I am faint. He was therefore named Edom. Pour into me, I will open my mouth, and you pour very much into it. As we learned, we may not stuff a camel on the Shabbat, but we may put food into our mouths. Some of this red pottage, red lentils. And on this day Abram died, lest he see Esau, his grandson, fainting into bad ways. For that would not be the good old age that the Holy One, blessed be he, had promised him. Therefore, Holy One, blessed be he, shortened his life by 5 years, for Jacob lived 180 years, and this one Abraham lived 175 years, and Jacob cooked lentils to feed the mourner Isaac. But why lentils? Because they are round as a wheel, for mourning is like a round revolving in the world. Also, just as lentils has no mouth, no crack, as other beings have, so does the mourner has no mouth, for he is prohibited from speaking. It is therefore the custom to feed the mourner eggs at the beginning of his meal, since they are round and have no mouth. To so do a mourner hath no mouth. It as is discussed in Moed Katan. A mourner for the entire first 3 days may not respond to anyone's greeting, and surely may not initiate a greeting. For the 3rd day to the 7th day, he may respond, but may not greet. This is found in one of the editions of Rashi in Rabbah 63:12, 16b. Point being clear, no Jewish thought that the Most High called the white man Esau. This does not describe Esau as being white, or nor is this any type of credible intellectual or no type of justification for the explanation that the Bible says Esau is the white man. This scripture does not, God does not call Esau the white man. The word Edomni is Edom, or Edomni is red. Okay? And he did not, the Bible does not call Esau red because of his red skin. He called Esau red because he liked the red pottage and he wanted more. He asked for the pottage and he liked it and he wanted more. You understand? That's why Esau was called red. It had nothing to do with the brother being red in complexion. You know, that just was a description of him, just to give us a description of him, and that was it. You understand? And it had nothing to do with his name. His name had to do with him being a hairy man, not a red man. He was named Esau. He was nicknamed Red, not because of his red skin. Because he was, so the scripture only say he was born red. You see, it didn't say he was red to the day he died. Strong's number 3526. Niger. Niger. Of Latin origin. Remember that. Of Latin origin. Black, Niger, a Christian, Niger. Thayer's Greek lexicon. Niger, 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 black. The name is Niger. I'm being nice with the soft G, because the soft G, if it was pronounced with a soft G, they would have put a J there. So I'm gonna stop being nice. That's Niger, of Latin origin, black, Niger, a Christian, Neger. There's Greek lexicon. Neger. Neger equals black. Number 1, surname of the prophet Simeon. Part of speech, noun, proper masculine. Relation of Latin origin. Of Latin origin. Neger. Meaning that in the Latin language, the word neger means black. Acts 13:1. Barnabas and Simeon, that was called Niger, and Lucius, meaning that Barnabas and Simeon, that was called Niger. So Barnabas and Simeon was called Niger, and Lucius too. 3 Negers. Neger. That there's Greek's lexicon in the Strong's Concordance. Number 3526. Neger equals black. Jewish Virtual Library. Neger of Perea. Neger of Perea, and 68 CE, Patriot Leader of Perea, Transjordan. After distinguishing himself in an attack on Cestius at the outset of the revolt against the Romans in the autumn of 66, Neger apparently took charge of operations against them in Idumea. In due course, becoming for a short time deputy governor of this province. So Neger became the governor of the province of Idumea. He was fighting in Idumea. He was from Perea, which is in Idumea. He is of Idumea. He is an Idumean. Negers are Idumeans. Idumeans are Negers, and Negers are Idumeans. Black of Perea. Later in the same year, he was placed in command of the disastrous expedition against Ashkelon, together with John the Essene and Silas the Babylonian. He was the only one of the three to survive, leading another attack later on with no greater success than his base in Idumea. His base, because he was from Idumea. He was from Perea, Idumea. Niger of Idumea. He was an Edomite. Black was an Edomite. Black people are called red. Black the Edomite. Black the Pyrean. Black the red. Black. His name is Black. They were named Edomites because their forefather liked red lentil soup, pottage. He was never called Edom because of the color of his skin. He was called Black, though. Edomites in historical records in Roman history saw Edomites as black. We have historical records of that. There's no historical records of no one ever calling Edomites white. There's no historical records of Edomites dealing and living amongst white people. The Edomites always sojourned in Afro-Asiatic lands, in Africa and Asia, never in Europe. Okay? Never. And we're going to prove that. So during the reign of terror in Jerusalem, after the triumph of the zealous extremists, he was amongst the moderates who were executed, apparently on suspicion of wishing to come to terms with the Romans. So as we can see, there's no historical records of Edomites being called white, and there's no historical records of people seeing them or even naming them. They named themselves black, as in skin color, and when and if any reference ever was to Edomite skin color, it was always black. The Edomites, the black Edomites, that were called red because their forefather liked red pottage, who mourned their grandfather's death. Had nothing to do with nothing to do. There's nothing to support in history white people being Edomites. There's no historical nothing. It's all backed up by defective and insufficient evidence that lacks both quality and quantity, meaning that there's one or two pseudepigraphal, fake, pseudoscience, pseudo-historical sources that are not real historical sources. They're pseudo. They're fake. We go to encyclopedia.com. We got Niger of Pyrea, and we have the same story. You see? Same story. Okay? Wikipedia, Nigger of Pyrean. I'm not making this stuff up. This is his story. You're digging off into Jewish Roman history. Okay? I mean, I like this because it got sources on it. You want to know where you get your sources from? Flavius Josephus' Roman Jewish Wars. What else? The Nigger of Pyrea, the Nigger of Pyrea, the Jewish Virtual Library. We just read that one. You know, what's this? What source is this? What? Flavius Josephus again, the Roman Jewish Wars, Volume 3. The other one was Volume 2. Right there, 2.3. That's Section 2.3 in the Roman Jewish War, Volume 3. Okay, we have our sources. These are historical records. These are people in history. And this man, it was an Edomite, and his name, he was called Niger. There's no white people ever being connected in history with Edomites. These people are Afro-Asiatic people. Afro-Asiatic. Edom. Edom. Udumi. Udumu was an ancient kingdom in Transjordan, located between Moab to the northeast, the Arabah to the west, and the Arabian Desert to the southeast. Most of its former territory is now divided between present-day southern Israel and Jordan. Edom appears in written sources related to the late Bronze Age and the Iron Age of the Levant. As we can see, the Edom today is not in the same place exactly where it was fully in biblical times, for it took up a much greater expanse. It took up the Arabian area. It took up the Nabatew area. It took up the kingdom of Moab, and it took up there was Edom. Now today is just a smaller area, but back then it took up all right there to the left where it says Arabu tribes, the kingdom of Edom. The southern part of Judah, it took up that area. It took it lapped over in the southern parts of Judah. It took up the kingdom of Moab, and it took up the area of the Nabatew tribes. Okay, so it took up Arabia. Okay, the Arabian Desert. All right, so it was a much bigger area. Okay, and this stuff was in the Middle East. It was in the Levant. Okay, it was not in Europe. There's nothing to equate these Afro-Asiatic black niggers, as in nigger of Paria, nothing to equate these people to white people in history or the Bible. Pyria or Perie, the country beyond, was the portion of the kingdom of Herod the Great, which was an Edomite, occupying the eastern side of the Jordan River Valley, from about 1/3 the way down the Jordan River, segment connecting the Sea of Galilee and the Dead Sea, to about 1/3 the way down the eastern shore of the Dead Sea. It did not extend very far to the east. Herod the Great's kingdom was bequeathed to 4 heirs, of which Herod Antipas received both Perea and Galilee. He dedicated the city Lavias in the north to the Dead Sea. In 39 CE, Perea of Galilee were transferred from disfavored Antipas to Agrippa by one Caligula. With his death in 44 CE, Agrippa merged territory was made a province again, including Judea and for the first time Perea. This is how Perea came to be, which originally was Perea originally was Edomite territory, somewhere in the Israelite Edomite territory range. Okay, in the land occupied more so by the Edomites. All right. From that time, Perea was part of a shifting Roman province to its west. Judah and later Syria, Palestina, and Palestina Prima attested mostly in Josephus' books. The terms was in rarer use in the late Roman period. It appeared in Eusebius' Greek language geographical works, Onomasticon, but in the Latin translation by Jerome as Transjordan is used. This is the land of Perea, people. Right there, just right to your right of Samaria and Judea, to the left of Nabatea and Decapolis, okay, just south of Galilee, just north of Idumea, okay. All of that was Edomite territory. And he became the governor of Edom, all right. That is not in Europe, ladies and gentlemen. That is in Afro-Asiatic societies. As we can see, Afro-Asiatic is relating to or denoting a family of languages spoken in the Middle East and North Africa. The family is commonly divided into 4 groups. It's the Semitic, the Omatic, the Berber, the Cushitic, and the Chadic. Ancient Egyptian was also a member of this family. All African and Asian societies, non-European, non-white, non-Indo-European. As you can see here, in the Afro-Asiatic is a language family, and it includes the people, okay? These are all the different Afro-Asiatic languages: Berber, Chadic, Cushitic, Egyptian, Semitic, Omatic, okay? Here's some examples of them: the Akkadian, the Hebrew, Phoenician, the Canaanite, the Amoritic, the Ugaritic, the Aramaic, okay? These are Afro-Arabic, okay, Edomite language, okay. As we can see, people, the Edomite language was a Northwest Semitic Canaanite language, okay. It was a Canaanite language, very similar to Hebrew, Ekronite, Ammonite, Phoenician, Amorite, and Sutian, spoken by Edomites in southwest Jordan as parts of Israel in the second and first millennium BC. It is extinct and known only from a small corpus. Language family, Afro-Asiatic, Canaanite language, ancient languages. We see that Edomite is an Afro-Asiatic language because they were Afro-Asiatic people living in Afro-Asiatic lands. There's no evidence. We didn't prove historically there's no evidence. Linguistically, there's no evidence. And scripturally, there's no evidence for Esau being the white man. This is the drawing of an Edomite statue. This is not a white man. This is not a red man. This is an Afro-Asiatic man. And you can clearly see this. The Shashu are the Edomites. As you can see here in the papyrus of Anastasia, 6 mentions nomads of Edom, calls them the Shushu. The Shashu. Scholars call them Bedouins. The Egyptians also depicted these Edomites. This here is an Edomite sculpture, okay? This is a depiction of an Edomite. Now, we got this right here, the Papyrus of Anastasia, all right? And the Egyptians depicted these people here as Edomites. There is no archaeological evidence pointing to Esau being white or European or red because the Bible described him as being born red. This is ridiculous, okay? There's no evidence of this, okay? These are Afro-Asiatic people, not European, Caucasian, white, or what you will twist off as red people. Edomites are not white people, bro. Stop it. Teman was the name of an Edomite clan of its eponym, according to the Bible. Genesis 36, 11, and 43. And the sons of Eliphaz were Teman, Omar, Zepho, and Gatam, and Kenaz. And Teman was concubines with Eliphaz's son, to Eliphaz, Esau's son. Okay? So Eliphaz was Esau's son. Okay? And the sons of Eliphaz was Zepho. So that means that Teman was Esau's grandson. Okay? And because these were the generations of Esau. And these are Esau's sons. Okay? Eliphaz was the son of Esau. Verse 10. Eliphaz's son was Teman, which is Esau's grandson. Verse 11. Teman is an Edomite. Teman was the name of an Edomite clan of its eponym according to the Bible, as we saw was the truth, and an ancient biblical town of Arabia, Petria. The term is also traditionally used in biblical Hebrew as the synonym of the direction south, as was applied to being used as the Hebrew name of Yemen, whose Arabic name is Yaman, due to its location in the south end of the Arabian Peninsula, thus making Yemenite Jews being called Timani in Hebrew. In the book of Genesis 36:15, the name Teman is referred to as the son of Eliphaz, Esau's eldest son. Job's friend Eliphaz was a Temani. Job 2:11. Teman, Teman or Tiamin, the Hebrew name for Yemen, homeland of the Tiamani or the Tiamani, the Yemenite Jews. In the Tanakh, Job's friend Eliphaz was a Tiamani. In the book of Genesis, Teman is son of Eliphaz, Esau's oldest son. Teman, Edom, an Edomite clan and an ancient biblical town of Arabia, Petria. Teman Monofly, that's an aircraft. Yemen, officially the Republic of Yemen, is a country in southern Asia on the southern end of the Arabian Peninsula. It borders Saudi Arabia to the north and Oman to the northeast, and shares maritime borders with Eritrea, Djibouti, and Somalia. Yemen. Yemen. This people is Yemen. Yemen. Esau. Edom. The Tiamani Jews. Esau. Yemen. The Tiamani Jews. Edom. Idumea. Pyria. Niger of Pyria. Governor of Edom. Yemen. These are Negers of Edom. These are the Negers of Edom. Black Edomites. Niger in Yemen. This is a Niger in Yemen. Edom. Edomite. Non-European. Stop teaching a racist lie that the Edomites are European. That's non-biblical, that's non-historical, that's non-historic, that's non-archaeological, that's there's nothing out there support that but conjecture, guesswork, and insufficient evidence. Blacks in Yemen, Edomites, Negers. Seeing should be believing. People don't see what they don't believe what they see. They rather believe what they fix. They rather see what they fix their mind to believe. Yemen, black, Arab, Southern Arabia, Yemen, Afro-Asiatic, Edom, Petria, black Yemens. Look at this, people. They need to stop with the bull crap. Stop it. Just stop it. These people are not white people. This is crazy, people. Stop it. These are Edomites, people. This is what they look like to this very day. All these black people in Yemen. You know, I mean, this is crazy. This is just really ridiculous. There's several news channels, you know, further images of blacks in Yemen. You'll see them pop up, you know. These are blacks in Yemen. These are Edomites. And see that little red color that they have? That color is almost color like the red of the scarf. But these people are ignorant. These are black folks. They love the color red, too. They love the color red. Look at them. Every one of them got something red on. They love red. And their color reflects that color, really. They're really not black, really. They're just Afro-Asiatic. These people are the Edomite Reds, the Negroes, the red Negroes of Edom. I mean, clearly you can see by the title, you know. People can clearly see these are people in Yemen. These are the Yemenite Edomites, the red Negroes of Yemen, okay, that the Bible talks about, that were named after their father Esau. These people are not white people, okay? These people are not white people. People, look at this. Stop it with the lies that Esau is white. Just stop it with the lies. These are Edomites. These are black Edomites, people. When they ask you stupid questions like if Esau is not the white man, then who is Esau then? These is who Esau is, people. This is what history, science, archaeology, all of this suggests this. Black people. Edom. Edomni. Afro-Asiatic. Yemen. Come on, people, stop it. This is Yemen, people. And these are Edom. Edom, Yemen, Edom, Yemen, Edom, Yemen, Yemen, Edom, Yemen, Edom, Yemen, Edom, Yemen, Edom, Yemen, Edom, Edomni, Edom, Niger, Pyria, King Agnias of Carthage, King Agnias, the Chronicles of Jeramiel. Understand, people, that Japheth is Kittim. Kittim is Rome. Kittim was a settlement in present-day Larnaca on the east coast of Cyprus, known in ancient times as Kition, or in Latin, Kitium. On this basis, the whole island became known as Kittim in Hebrew, including the biblical Hebrew. However, the name seems to have been employed with some flexibility in Hebrew literature. It was often implied to as the Aegean Islands and even to the West in general, but especially the seafaring West. Flavius Josephus in 100 AD records his Antiquities of the Jews that Sittimus, son of Javan, possessed the island Sittima. It is now called Cyprus, and from that it is that all islands and the great part of the seacoast are named Sittim, like Kittim, by the Hebrews, and one city there is in Cyprus. No, notice Kittim, okay, that has been able to preserve its domination. It is called Citius or Citium, okay, from Kittim, by whose use the language of the Greeks, and has not by the use of that dialect escaped the name Kittim. So it's basically telling you that is what this land is known, and these people in this area is known as in Greek. Okay, the expression Isles of Kittim found in the book of Jeremiah 2:10 and Ezekiel 27:6 indicate that some centuries prior to Josephus, this designation has already become a general descriptor for the Mediterranean islands. So Kittim has become a general descriptor for the Mediterranean islands in the times prior to Josephus. So it meant that in the days of Josephus' writings. Sometimes this designation was further extended to apply to Romans, Macedonians, and Seleucid Greeks. Okay? The Romans. So the Kittims are the Romans and the Greeks and the Macedonians from Javan. From Javan. Javan is Yawan or Iowan. is where they get the word Ionia from. The Ionians, the Greeks and the Romans, they were the Kittims. The Septuagint translates the occurrence Kittim in the book of Daniel as Romans. Okay? The Maccabees state that Alexander the Great, the Macedonian, he had come from the land of Kittim. So the Greeks and the Romans are the Kittim. Answers in Genesis identified the Greek god Cronus with Javan, son of Kittim. 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 Japheth. Japheth. Children, Javan. Javan. Ionian, see? Name of the Eastern is cognate. Yavan has long been considered cognate with the name of the Eastern Greeks, the Ionians. Kittim, reference to the king of Greece in Daniel 8:21 through 22 and 11 and 2. Kittim, Cyprus, Kittim. Kittim. The Kittim are mentioned in several Jewish apocalypse. A famous example from the book of Daniel describes critically how the king of the north invades the kingdom of the south. At an appointed time, he will again invade the south, but this latter visit will not turn out the way the former one did. The ships of Kittim will come against him, leaving him disheartened. In this case, we are quite certain that this refers to the second campaign of the Seleucid king Antiochus V Epiphanes against the Ptolemaic Egypt, which was broken off when the Roman ambassador ordered the king to leave. The Kittim must be the Romans. The Kittim must be the Romans. The Kittim must be the Romans. And translators of the Septuagint and Ancient, referring to the Bible in Greek, translated the word as Roman. Okay? Similar identifications can be found in the oldest Prasarim, translations of Hebrew text in Aramaic. The Pashar on the Apocalypse of Weeks in 4Q 247 and the Pashar Isaiah in 4Q 161, the younger Pasharim, such as the Pashar Habakkuk 1QP 8JB, and the Pashar Nahum 4Q 169. Kittim refers to the Romans. The war scroll was probably written by someone who used Kittim as a code name for the Seleucid, I can never say that word, appears to have been adapted by someone who was thinking of both of the Seleucid and the Ptolemies, and was adopted by someone who had the Romans in mind. Bible Way Encyclopedia, Kittim. Kittim, the third son of Javan, grandson of Japheth, brother of Elisha. Sicily and South Italy, and Tarshish, Rome and Spain, and Dodenum, which is Rhodes. These are Kedom, the people of your Mediterranean islands, your Greeks and your Romans, and your Rhodesians. Kittim, or in the longer or more properly national form, Kittaim, a branch of the descendants of Javan, son of Japheth, not Edom, closely related to Dodanum, and remotely to the other descendants of Javan. Balaam foretold that ships would come from the coast of Kittim and should afflict Asher and afflict Eber, the Assyrians and the Hebrews. Numbers 24 and 24, thus foretelling the Grecian and Roman invasions. Daniel prophesied, Daniel 11:13, that the ships of Kittim should come against the kings of the north, that's Rome and Greece, and that he should therefore be grieved and return, with which was fulfilled when Antiochus Epiphanes, king of Syria, having invaded Egypt, was by the Roman ambassador's command. Now back to this king Agnias of Carthage. In the Chronicles of Jeremiah, let's read so we can understand who is what now. And it came to pass, when the Lord scattered the sons of men all over the surface of the earth, that they became separate into different companies. The Kittim formed the Romans, or the Greeks and Romans formed one company, and accompanying in the plain of Campania. They dwelt there by the river Tiberio, while a children of Tubal encompassed in Toscana, and their frontier was the river Tiberio. They built a city and called it Sabino, after the name of its builders. And the Kittim also built a city for themselves. The Romans and the Greeks built a city for themselves. These were the names that they were called before they was known as Macedonians, before they was known as Romans and Greeks. They were called the Kittims and the Ionians. Also built a city for themselves and called its name Pasamanga. Now the children of Tubal were overbearing to the Kittim, and said, they shall not intermarry amongst us. But it happened at the harvest time, when the children of Tubal had gone to their fields, that the young men of the Kittim gathered together, and going to Sabino, they took their daughters and captives. They took their daughters captives. So we're talking about the children of Kittim took the daughters of Tubal as captives, and they climbed the mountains of Capparisio. And soon as the children of Tubal heard of this, they arrayed themselves in battle against them, but could not prevail over them on account of the height of the mountain. So they gathered on all young warriors of the all the young warriors to the mountains. In the next year, the children of Tubal went out against to battle. But the Kittim brought up all the children that were born of their Tubal daughters upon the wall which they had built, and said, you have come to fight against your own sons and daughters? Are we not your own bone and flesh? As they had ceased fighting, and the Kittim gathered together and built a city by the sea which they call Porto, which is in today Portugal, and another in the city of Albano. All of that is in Portugal, and the other one is Albano, is in I believe is in Italy, and yet another which they name Arisa. And they, in those days, Sepho, this is Zepho, okay, son of Eliphaz, the son of Eliphaz, fled from Egypt. Joseph had conquered him when he had went up to Hebron to bury his father. So when Joseph went up to Hebron to bury his father, okay, Isaac, he had captured Zepho and took him to Egypt with him. And it was then that the children of Esau tried to entice him to evil. But Joseph prevailed over him, and capturing Zepho from them, brought him to Egypt. After the death of Joseph, Zepho fled to Egypt, to Africa, to Agnias, king of Carthage, where he was received with great honor and appointed captain of the host. At the same time, there lived a man. So we see that the Idumean Edomite in history was always amongst African and Asian people. He was never amongst European people. He never had children with European people. These were all black people. And we see him, Zepho, the Edomite, fleeing into Egypt, okay, after the death of Moses, and he was acknowledged by another African king who made him the captain of the host. And at the same time, there lived a man in the land of Rome, Edom, in the city of Pasagmena, named Usi. He was to the Edom as a vain god. He died and left no son, but only one daughter named Ionia. She was so beautiful and very wise, nor was the like of her beauty to be found in all the land. Agnias sought her for his wife, as did Turnus, king of Benevento. But they, the Kittim, the Roman and the Greeks, said to the latter, "We cannot give her to thee, because Agnias, king of Africa, seeks her. We fear lest he wage war against us, and in that cause thou couldst not deliver us from his power." The inhabitants of Pasagmena then sent a letter to the effect of King Agnias of Carthage, whereupon he mustered all his host and came to the island of Sardinia. Palos, his nephew, went out to meet him and said, "When thou ask my father to come to thy assistance, ask him to appoint me the head of the army." Agnias did so and came to the province of Astrius in ships. So Turnus went out to meet him, and a very severe battle ensued in the valley of Campania, in which Palos, his nephew, fell by the sword. Agnias then embalmed him, and having made a golden image mask, placed him therein. After that, he once more set his men to battle array and captured Turnus, king of Benevento, and having slain him, made a mass image of the brass and placed him therein. He then built a tower in the highway in his city honor, and another for Palos, his nephew, and called one the Tower of Palos and the other the Tower of Turnus, and later were separated by the marble pavement, which remains until this day. They were built between Albano and Rome. Agnias then took Iana to wife and returned to his own city. From that day henceforth, Gandalus and the armies of the kings of Africa asked to ravage the land of the Romans. Ravage the land of the Romans. So we got, so the king of the Africa is getting ready to raid Rome. We talk about Ignia, the king of Carthage. He's getting ready to raid Rome, okay? And spoil and plunder. Zepho always accompanying them. See, Zepho was accompanying the Africans. So when you try to make it like Zepho was a white Edomite and he took a band of white people into Africa, a band of white people into Rome and invaded Rome, therefore the Romans and the Edomites are the same white people, is a lie. What we see happen was Zepho, an Afro-Asiatic, went amongst other Afro-Asiatics into Africa, became a general in the king's army of Africa, and the Africans went in and made war with the Romans and the Greeks with Zepho. So this was black people Moors going into Rome and Italy when they first occupied and dominated Spain, Portugal, and the Mediterranean, the islands of Tarshish and Tyre. And Kittim and Javan. So we see, so Zepho was always accompanying the Africans as they was getting ready to raid the lands of the Kittims. Okay? Then this Zepho, the son of Eliphaz, traveled from Africa. Zepho traveled from Africa to Kittim. This was a black man, not no white man. Y'all keep lying. We can prove that Zepho was a black man, so we see why he was always amongst black people. We see the Edomites were always amongst black people, and why they was amongst black people, because they was black people. We see them why they traveled in and out of Africa, okay? So when this African Zepho, the son of the black Zepho, Edomite, son of Eliphaz, traveled from Africa to Kittim, to Rome, to Italy, to Greece, the inhabitants received him with great honor and presented him with many gifts, so that he became rich, and the troops of Africa spread themselves all over the land of Kittim. And they, having assembled, ascended the mountains of Campo Marzio, on the account of the troops of Gandolus. One day of the herd of Zepho was missing. One day one of the herd of Zepho was missing, and after starting in search of it, he heard the lowing of a bull in the neighborhood of the mountains. And going to the bottom of the mountains, he discovered a cave with a great stone placed at its mouth. When he removed the stone, he beheld, to his surprise, a huge animal devouring a bullock. From the middle downward, it presented itself like a man, but from the middle upward, that of a goat. Zepho instantly sprang upon it and split its head open. The inhabitants of Kittim then said, "What shall be done for the man who has slain the beast and continually devoured our cattle?" On a festival day, they assembled together and called his name Janus, after the name of the beast. They offered him a drink offering on that clay and brought him meal offerings. And from that day, they named from that time they named the day the festival of Janus. So we see that Janus was named after Zepho slaughtered this beast in Rome. Okay, so when the troops of Gandalus were once more invaded the land of Kittim for plunder, and therefore Janus went out against them, and having smitten them and put them to flight and delivered the land from their raids, the Kittim assembled and appointed Zepho to the throne of Kittim, the Edomite. This is how he became the father of Rome. This is how Zepho ruled over Rome. Okay? Now we see that again that this was all blacks. This is how the blacks and the Moors became dominant over Rome. Okay? Now we see the Romans made him because of his valor. They made him king of Rome. Okay? The Kittim then went forth to subdue the children of Tubal and the nations round about. And Janus their king Zepho, went before them and subdued them. After this, Zepho was called Saturnus, In addition to Janus, Zepho after the name of the beast, and Saturnus after the name of the star which they worshipped in those days. The planet Saptii, Saturnus, he reigned at first in the valley of Campania, in the land of the Kittim, and built an exceedingly large temple there. He then extended his kingdom over the whole land of kingdom and over all Italy. Janus Saturnus, after a reign of 55 years, died and was buried. His successor was Picos Phanos, who reigned 50 years. He also erected a huge temple in the valley of Campania, and soon after died. His successor was named Latinus. Okay, now we see Latinus, and it was he who explained the language and its letters. That's why the language is named after the Latin king called Latinus. Okay, who was successor after the successor of Zepho. Okay, and so this was Latinus. Okay, he likewise built a temple for his dwelling and many ships. He went to battle with Ashurbanipal, the sons of Agnias. Okay, now this guy here went to war with all of the blacks that was ruling over Rome prior. Okay, in order to take his daughter Zaspipi to wife, as Agnias had done to Kittim when he took on Aeneas from them in the battle. And this woman was very beautiful so much that the men of her generation weaved her image into their clothes in honor of her beauty. A fierce battle ensued between Astrabel, king of the Carthaginians, and Latimus, king of Kittim. I told y'all he was white. That was the reason why when he became the first, Latinus became the first black king. So when y'all sitting up here talking about that the white Edomites went into the land, married and made it with the Edomite with the Romans, and then they became one big white land. History doesn't say this. History says that as soon as they became king, right after Ignatius died, one king after that, Latinus came up, and he was the king of the Kittims, a white guy, and he took back the land from the blacks. And this is why the Kittims is white. The Kittims took back the land from Zepho. Okay? So Zepho is not the dominant. The Edomites are not the dominant. The dominant is the Kittim. And the Kittim has held on to that land till this day. Okay? The white man. The Japheth is the white man, and Kittim is the white man. There's nothing to support the One West lies. And this story, you can also read about it in a book called The Ziphion. And you also can read about it in the books of Jasher, chapter 57 till around 65. Peace. I am out of here. White man is not no Esau. There's nothing in history, nothing in science, nothing in linguistics, nothing in anthropology, nothing in archaeology that proves Esau is the white man. In fact, I just taught y'all how the Moors invaded and took Spain. All right. That being stated, and the Moors were blacks. Esau was a black nigger. Okay. So now that I'm done with that, we can get off into how the Edomites end off in Africa, and how when you ask where the Edomites at, they're in Edom. They're in Edom today as black people, and they're in Africa as black people. Who are the descendants of Esau? The biblical Esau, Edom, paternal E1B1B. Who are the descendants of Esau? There are many lineages, lines, but there there are many line lineages, but there is one, and like their ancient ancestors, many of them persecute Israel within Africa to this day. In fact, they were the slave raiding armies that enslaved many of our ancestors during the transatlantic slave trade. The Maziro of Sokoto, Jew named Ibn Muhammad al-Bukhari. So we'll call him al-Bukhari. That's what we call him for short. Al-Bukhari's drawings from earlier sources of the origin of the Fulani, combines them into a synthesis of opinion. He said regarding their origins, it is said that the origins of the Torabi are found from the Jews. It is said that they are from the Christians. It is said that they are from the Bambara, from amongst the Sudanese who came and settled between the Nile and the Euphrates rivers. It is said that they are from the band of the Banu Israel who relocated to the region of from the region of Sinai to the land of Tur. It is for this reason they are called the Turud. Tur is the land in the western part of Yemen. The most sound opinion is that they are descendants of Ra'um ibn Esau ibn Ishak ibn Ibrahim, which is Ra'um, son of Esau, son of Isaac, son of Abraham. Peace be upon him. The most sound opinion is that they are descendants of Ra'ub ibn Esau ibn Ishak ibn Ibrahim, upon whom be peace. Descendants from both Edom and Ishmael. Outside oral tradition, the Fulani are genetically related to the Negro. Hebrew Israelites they enslaved and sold to the Europeans themselves, having the Y paternal DNA of both E1B1B and E1A1, which are the Ishmaelites. And the E1B1B is the Edomites. Sadly, many of the Fulani Edomites are amongst the most violent Hebrews on the continent of Africa to this day. And the Fulani is just that. To some of the past Fulani atrocities in Africa, many Hebrew Israelites that were formerly oppressed by the Fulani were forced to convert to Islam and or adopt their culture in their attempt to avoid enslavement or being sold to the Europeans. The Fulani. These are the Fulani of Western Africa. As you can see, these are the Fulani, and they look identical to the people in Yemen, and they are in Western Africa, Nigeria. Fulani. That's the Fulani. All these images are Fulani. All of these are Fulani, originally from Yemen, Western Africa. The Fulani. The Fulani. The Fulani. The Fulani, the Fulbi. Edom. That's Edom. The Negroes. The warriors. The Fulani. The Fulani. The Fulani. Edom. Negroes. Edom. Yemen. Fulani. 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 These people are not white folks, y'all. These are the Edomites right here. Every person that I showed y'all on here was Edomites. And this is all backed by historical, archaeological, anthropological, linguistic biblical and genetic evidence.